Week scenes like this will be seen from Charlotte to Boone to Chapel Hill to Raleigh. College students will become college grads, and for many, the real work begins landing a job. Thanks for sticking with us here at 7:30. You know, a lot can change in a relatively short period of time. Listen to these college grads.
It's super high demand for teachers now, so it makes it easier on us to figure out a job, which is nice.
The job I'm at now, I got back in September.
The job market for the class of 2022 looks very promising.
The class of 2022, just 3 years ago, was in really good shape. We were coming out of the pandemic and it felt like everyone was hiring. In May of that year, the Bureau of Labor Statistics said there were 11.5 million job openings, the most we had actually seen in decades. In fact, I want to just show you this chart right here. It tracks job openings since 2000, and you can see the spike here in 2022. We hadn't seen anything even close to that in recent memory, but then you'll also notice here, that's the downward slide. The most recent number we have from February, job openings had dropped to 7.5 million.
And what we've been telling our graduates and our students in general is this is more of an employer's market. So, you know, during the COVID time, it was a candidate's market. You had plenty of jobs out there and it was very, very strong. Now it's kind of rebalancing, if you will. And so we really make sure that they understand that.
All right, there, Dr. Patrick Madsen, Associate Dean for Advising and Experimental Learning at UNC Charlotte. He's helping guide soon-to-be grads. And we all know things are, well, unsettled right now. Tariffs and trade battles have a lot of companies in wait-and-see mode. And there is some data showing that. Again, go back to 2022. The National Association of Colleges and Employers found fewer than 4% of employers were planning to decrease their hiring of new college grads. Well, this spring, that's up to 11%. So while most will still be hiring, this job market will be more competitive than we've seen in recent years.
That strikes me as saying be flexible, right? You may not get the exact job you want right out of school, but
yes,
take one,
you got
right?
it. Yeah, exactly. Have a plan B and a C and a D, right?
Yeah.
Very much like we had in the Great Recession is know your strengths, know your value, know the skills that you have, and then understand where you can apply that in many different industries and many different types of companies.
How do you encourage them to sort of temper that, right? Because you kind of got this mindset of where you're going to be right after school, but it may not come right away. So you got to kind of deal with that emotionally too, right?
Oh, yeah. And that's where my counseling background comes into play and many of my staff members. So we always tell students, take a breath. It's going to be okay. As long as you are planning, writing things down, having a strong strategy for yourself, that's something you can really anchor yourself around as you move forward with your career.
You mentioned it's a little bit more of an employer market right now, not for the employee. So how do you handle sort of the negotiation of a first job?
Yeah, you know, students still have power. So graduates have these skills that employers still need. And you know, when you look at this economy right now, a lot of our employers, they really do want to hire. And I think they're kind of taking this wait and see approach because we don't know what the next 6 months is going to shake out. And that's normal. That's okay. This is part of the economy. And I think students are coming out of our university with very strong skills, very strong experience. And that's something they should be selling and celebrating and talking to an employer about. And so it's okay to make sure that you're making sure that employers see and understand all the value that you have.
They may see an older sibling, maybe a parent who's still working from home. That's probably becoming less and less of an opportunity, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I think we're shifting into more of a hybrid world versus what we saw right after the COVID and maybe even recently. Some of the numbers from NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers, have been saying that a lot of the entry-level positions are your in-person primary types of positions. And so that's one of those things we talked about with our graduates of understand that you may not get that virtual job that you've been wanting and that things are starting to switch back to what you and I might remember from back in the day.
Does each resume, each cover letter need to be tailored for each job?
Yes, sir. Always, 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 always. I have found from 26 years doing this, recruiters, and hiring managers, when they talk about a general resume, and when they can smell that out, right? They're going to put it into the possibly no pile. And so employers want to know, why do you want to work for our organization? And if you're not making that connection, you might be missing out on something.
I guess just bottom line right now, your best advice to grads would be what?
Yeah, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't worry. This stuff is normal in the economy. It can feel fearful and scary, but you know what? We will get through it.
We will indeed. Dr. Madsen, great advice. I appreciate you taking some time to talk to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Some really helpful information.